1587, the courtyard of Himeji Castle. Tomoe stood before Lord Ishida, katana raised, facing her opponent across 20 feet of stone. She was faster, better trained, superior technique, but her hands trembled, just slightly, and her opponent saw it. He smiled. That smile told Tomoe everything. He knew she was afraid. And because he knew, his fear disappeared. Her visible fear had fed his confidence. The duel lasted 8 seconds. He won not because he was stronger. He won because her face had betrayed her before her sword ever moved. Afterward, bleeding from a shoulder wound that should have been his, Tomoe sat in the castle garden, humiliated, defeated, not by his blade, by her own transparency. An old man approached, not a samurai, a no-theater performer, his face painted white, expression frozen in the eternal mask of the performance. You lost before you drew your sword. I know. Do you know why? Tomoe gestured at her wound. Fear. No. The performer sat. You lost because your face moved, and in that movement you gave him everything. This is Fudōshin, the immovable mind, the face that never changes, the discipline that kept warriors alive when skill failed, the practice that turned fear into power by preventing fear from becoming visible. Want to know how she learned it? But before we continue, subscribe to the channel. This is how you help us grow and bring you more warrior wisdom. Now, let me tell you Tomoe's story. Chapter 1. The Transparent Warrior. Spring, 1586. 1 year before the duel. Northern Kyoto. Tomoe was 24 when she discovered that excellence could be a prison. She'd trained since age 8 under her father's swordmaster, Hayato Sensei, in the Tenshin Shoden Katori Shinto Ryu style. Every morning before dawn, 500 cuts, perfect form, perfect breathing, perfect footwork. By 16, she could defeat most of the male students. By 20, she was teaching junior warriors basic kata. By 23, she was her father's personal guard, the first woman to hold that position in 3 generations. The other samurai called her Winter Blade. Not because she was cold, but because her technique was pure, crystalline, flawless. Her father was a minor lord, but influential. His territory controlled a critical mountain pass between Kyoto and Osaka. Alliances mattered, political marriages mattered, and increasingly, his daughter's growing reputation as a warrior mattered. But there was a problem Tomoe didn't know she had. One evening after training, Hayato Sensei called her to his quarters. Tomoe, you're the finest technical swordswoman I've trained in 40 years. She bowed deeply. Thank you, Sensei. But I have a concern. She looked up, confused. What concern? The master picked up 2 objects from his desk. A no-theater mask, painted white, expression frozen in eternal serenity, and a sheet of rice paper with calligraphy. Which is stronger? The mask, obviously. Hayato Sensei held the paper to a candle. It caught fire, burned completely within seconds. Then he struck the mask against the floor, hard. It cracked into 3 pieces. Both broke. But here's the difference. The paper showed you it was burning. You could see the flame consuming it, see the curl, see the transformation. The mask gave you nothing, until the moment it shattered. He looked at her directly. Tomoe, you are like burning paper, beautiful, skilled, but every thought, every emotion, every intention, visible. Your face betrays you constantly. Tomoe felt defensive. My discipline is my strength. Your technique is disciplined. Your face is chaos. He paused. Watch yourself in combat. When you plan to strike, your eyes move to the target first. When you're uncertain, your jaw tightens. When you feel fear, your breathing changes visibly. You announce everything. But I win my sparring matches. Against training partners in controlled conditions. Against opponents who aren't trying to read you. Against strikes that follow predictable patterns. Hayato Sensei stood. War is coming, Tomoe. Lord Ishida in the West is consolidating power. Your father will be forced to choose sides. There will be political duels, territorial challenges, real stakes. I'm ready. No. He placed the broken mask pieces in front of her. You're perfectly prepared for a fight where emotional transparency doesn't matter. You're completely unprepared for the fight where it means everything. That night, Tomoe couldn't sleep. The master's words echoed. Your face betrays you constantly. But controlling her expression seemed impossible, like trying to stop breathing. Her face moved naturally, automatically, unconsciously. How could she control something she didn't even know she was doing? 6 months later, the challenge came. Lord Ishida sent an emissary with an ultimatum: swear allegiance or face consequences. Tomoe's father refused. The diplomatic impasse required resolution through a proxy duel, a formal challenge where each lord's champion would fight. The winner's lord gained political leverage. Her father chose Tomoe. She should have been honored. Instead, she felt the weight of what Hayato Sensei had warned. This wasn't sparring. This was a duel where her opponent would be looking for every advantage, every weakness, every tell. The night before the duel, Hayato Sensei gave her one last teaching. Tomorrow, you'll face Kenji. He's 38, fought in 12 real battles. He's not technically superior to you, but he's a hunter. He reads opponents, finds weakness, exploits hesitation. How do I defend against that? You can't, not in one night. He looked sad. You needed years to learn what I'm about to teach you in minutes. But here it is, Fudōshin. The immovable mind, the face that doesn't change. How? You can't learn it by tomorrow, but you can understand it. And maybe, if you're lucky, you'll survive long enough to learn it properly afterward. He demonstrated. Standing in combat stance, he moved through several sword positions. His body moved. His face remained absolutely still. No tension, no effort, just unchanging. This is what kills warriors like you, Tomoe. You think discipline means controlling your sword. Fudōshin means controlling your face, and the face is harder to master than any blade. Chapter 2. The Lesson in Defeat. The Duel. Himeji Castle. Courtyard. Morning. When Tomoe saw Kenji across the courtyard, the first thing she noticed was his face, completely neutral. Not tense, not aggressive, not even focused, just present. Her own face, she realized too late, was already moving, analyzing him, calculating. Worried about the scar across his left cheek that suggested real combat experience. And he saw her worry. She watched his mouth curve just slightly. Lord Ishida stood on the raised platform. First blood or yield. Katana only. Begin. Tomoe raised her sword. Perfect stance, perfect grip. But her hands, just slightly, trembled. Kenji's stance was looser, less perfect, but his face gave her nothing. They circled, 15 seconds. 20. Tomoe planned her opening move, a high feint to draw his block, then a rapid shift to low strike. Standard but effective. She'd executed it 1,000 times. But the moment before she moved, her eyes glanced up, just a fraction. Unconscious telegraphing. Kenji saw it, adjusted. Her high feint came. He didn't commit to blocking. He waited. Her low strike came. He was already moving, sword positioned exactly where her blade would arrive. Their swords met. His angle was better. Her blade deflected wide, her ribs exposed. He could have killed her there. Instead, his blade cut across her shoulder. First blood, not death. The duel was over. 8 seconds from first movement to defeat. Tomoe stood there, blood running down her arm, trying to understand what had happened. Kenji bowed formally. As he walked away, he said quietly, just loud enough for her to hear, "You're predictable. Every thought readable. Master your face before you master your sword." The wound wasn't deep, the humiliation was. Chapter 3. The No Master's Teaching. That afternoon, sitting in the garden, bleeding and defeated, the old No performer approached. His name was Zenji. 70 years old. He'd been a famous performer in his youth, had even performed for the imperial court. Now he trained actors and, occasionally, samurai who needed to learn diplomatic masks for court appearances. "You lost before you drew your sword." Tomoe didn't look up. "I know." "Do you know why?" "Fear." "No." Zenji sat beside her. "You lost because your face moved. And in that movement, you gave him everything." "I can't control my face. It just reacts." "Of course you can't. Not yet. You've spent 15 years training your body and 0 years training your face. Your sword is a master. Your expression is a child." Tomoe looked at him. "Can you teach me?" "Why should I?" "Because I'll die if I don't learn." Zenji studied her for a long moment. "Do you know what No theater is?" "Performance, drama, art." "Wrong. No is a meditation on masks. The actor's face never changes. We paint it white and still. All emotion comes not from facial expression, but from body, voice, timing. We train for decades to express everything while showing nothing. But you're an actor. I'm a warrior. The principle is identical. In No, if the actor's real face shows through the mask, if they frown when portraying sadness, if they smile when portraying joy, the performance fails. The mask must remain unchanged. The emotion must come from elsewhere. In combat, Zenji continued, if your real internal state shows on your face, if fear appears as trembling, if aggression appears as tension, you've broken the mask. Your opponent reads you. You lose. "So I need to paint my face white?" Tomoe asked, confused. Zenji laughed. "No, you need to develop Fudōshin, the immovable mind. It's not about hiding emotion. It's about creating a space between feeling and showing. You feel fear, but your face remains neutral. You feel aggression, but your face stays calm. You feel anything, and your face reflects only what you choose." How? Through practice, daily, rigorous, the same way you trained your sword technique, 10,000 repetitions until it's unconscious. Tomoe bowed. "I'll do whatever it takes." "Then meet me tomorrow, dawn, the theater near Kiyomizu Temple. Bring discipline. Leave your pride." Chapter 4. The Training of the Unchanged Face. Dawn, the No Theater. The space was empty except for Zenji and one younger actor practicing silent movements on stage. First lesson, Zenji said. Awareness. You can't control what you're not aware of. Sit. Tomoe sat in Seiza position, formal kneeling. For the next hour, you will sit here. You will not move your face, not once. No expressions, no reactions, no micro movements. If you feel an itch, notice it. Don't scratch it. If you feel emotion, notice it. Don't show it. Just sit, unchanged. That's it? Try it. Tomoe sat, face neutral. 10 minutes in, her nose itched. She desperately wanted to scratch it. Her face started to scrunch unconsciously. Zenji struck a wooden block. Sharp sound. Your face moved. She reset. Continued. 20 minutes in, she remembered the duel. Shame flooded through her. Her jaw tightened. Block struck. Your face moved. 40 minutes in, her legs ached from Seiza position. She grimaced slightly. Block struck. Your face moved. The hour was torture. Not physically. The stillness itself was maddening. Every itch, every emotion, every discomfort demanded facial expression. And every expression felt like breathing, automatic, unconscious, uncontrollable. You moved your face 47 times in 1 hour, Zenji said. In a duel, your opponent sees those movements in seconds. You broadcast everything. I didn't realize I was doing it. Exactly. That's why warriors like you die. You think you control yourself. You control nothing. Over the next weeks, the training intensified. Week 1, the mirror practice. Zenji placed a mirror in front of Tomoe. Sit here. For 2 hours each morning, watch your face. Do nothing else. Just watch. Learn what it does without your permission. Tomoe watched. She saw micro-expressions she never knew she made. Eyebrows raising when surprised by a thought, lips pressing together when frustrated, nostrils flaring when annoyed. Her face was having an entire conversation she wasn't conscious of. Week 2, the emotional cascade. Now, Zenji said, we trigger emotions deliberately, and you maintain the unchanged face. He had her recall painful memories while keeping her expression neutral. Her father's disappointment, her mother's death, the duel with Kenji. Each memory triggered automatic facial responses: jaw clench, brow furrow, lip quiver. Again, recall the memory, feel it fully. Let your face show nothing. It took hundreds of repetitions. Slowly, Tomoe developed a new skill, the space between feeling and showing. She could feel grief, genuinely, deeply, while her face remained still. Week 3, the reaction training. Zenji would strike the wooden blocks suddenly, without warning. Loud, sharp, designed to trigger startle responses. Initially, Tomoe's face would react, eyes widening, brow raising, breath gasping. Again. Eventually, her face stopped reacting. The sound happened. She heard it. She was startled internally, but her face showed nothing. This is Fudōshin, Zenji explained. Not suppressing the startle, experiencing it without expressing it. The feeling and the face are no longer connected. Week 4, the combat integration. Finally, Zenji brought in a samurai sparring partner. They fought with bokken, wooden practice swords. Maintain the unchanged face, no matter what happens. Tomoe fought. When strikes came close, her face reflexively showed fear. When openings appeared, her face showed eagerness. Stop. Again. They drilled for hours. Strike patterns combined with facial neutrality. Gradually, Tomoe's face stopped broadcasting her intentions. Her technique remained the same, but her expression was learning a different discipline. Chapter 5. The Philosophy of the Immovable Mind. One evening, after a particularly difficult training session, Zenji invited Tomoe to tea. You're learning the practice. Now I'll teach you the principle. He poured tea with complete presence, his movements slow and deliberate. Fudōshin doesn't mean not feeling. It means immovable mind. The mind that experiences everything but is moved by nothing. Do you understand the difference? I'm not sure. Most warriors think emotional control means suppression. Feel nothing, show nothing, become ice. But ice is brittle. Ice breaks under pressure. He gestured to the tea. Fudōshin is like water that's become so still it reflects the moon perfectly. The water feels the moon's light. It doesn't deny the moon, but it doesn't react. It simply reflects. Your face must become that still water, not frozen, not suppressed, just still. Tomoe sat with this. But in combat, isn't it good to show aggression, to intimidate? Only if it's strategic. If your face shows aggression because you can't control it, you've lost control. But if your face shows exactly what you choose, neutrality when beneficial, aggression when strategic, you've gained power. The unchanged face isn't about never changing. It's about changing only when you decide. He continued. In the Zen tradition, there's a teaching, Heijoshin, the everyday mind, the mind that faces a sword with the same calm it uses to drink tea, not because the sword isn't dangerous, because danger doesn't control the mind. Fudōshin is the practice, Heijoshin is the state. Together they create what the greatest warriors possess, emotional sovereignty. Not suppressing, not denying, not hiding, choosing. Tomoe absorbed this. For weeks, she'd been learning technique. Now she understood the philosophy beneath it. Her face wasn't the enemy. Her unconscious reactions were. Mastery wasn't eliminating expression. It was eliminating automaticity. The neuroscience behind the practice. Zenji, though he didn't have modern language for it, was teaching something neuroscience would later understand. The gap between stimulus and response. The human face produces micro-expressions, unconscious facial movements that last 1/25th of a second. These expressions happen before conscious control engages. They're automatic, evolutionary, universal. Fear shows in widened eyes and raised brows. Disgust shows in a wrinkled nose. Anger shows in tightened jaw and narrowed eyes. Warriors who master Fudōshin aren't eliminating these responses. They're doing something more sophisticated. They're training conscious awareness to be faster than unconscious expression. The stimulus happens. The emotion arises. But before the face moves, awareness catches it. And in that catch, choice emerges. This is what modern psychology calls response flexibility, the ability to pause between trigger and reaction. The samurai didn't have that term. They called it Fudōshin, and they knew what science would later confirm. This skill is trainable through repetition, through awareness practices, through deliberately creating the gap between feeling and showing until the gap becomes automatic. Zenji explained it differently. Your face currently moves before you think. Training reverses this. You think, then choose whether your face moves. Chapter 6. The Rematch. 6 months after her first defeat, the same castle, a different duel. Lord Ishida's alliance demands had grown more aggressive. Another proxy duel was arranged. This time, political stakes were higher. The winner's lord would control tax collection across 3 territories. Kenji was chosen again, and Tomoe requested to be her father's champion. Hayato Sensei was skeptical. "You lost badly last time." "I know, but I'm not the same warrior." Her father agreed, reluctantly. The morning of the duel, Tomoe woke early. She didn't practice sword technique. Instead, she sat in mirror meditation for 2 hours, watching her face, feeling emotions arise, letting her expression remain unchanged. When she arrived at the castle courtyard, Kenji was already there, his face, as before, completely neutral. This time, Tomoe's was too. They bowed, drew swords, assumed stances. Kenji circled, watching her face for tells. Her eyes didn't move, her breathing didn't shift. Her expression remained completely still. For the first time, uncertainty crossed his face, just briefly. But Tomoe saw it. He struck first, a testing strike designed to provoke reaction. Tomoe blocked without her expression changing. No fear, no surprise, nothing. He struck again, faster, more aggressive. She deflected. Her face showed nothing. They exchanged a flurry of strikes, 12 in rapid succession. Tomoe's technique was the same as 6 months ago. But now her face gave him no information. He couldn't read her intentions, couldn't anticipate her moves. His frustration began to show, jaw tightening, brow furrowing. And in his frustration, he made a mistake. Overextended on a downward cut. Tomoe saw the opening. Her body moved. Her face remained unchanged. Her blade stopped 1 inch from his throat. First blood would have been his death. He yielded. The duel had lasted 43 seconds. Not because Tomoe was faster or stronger, but because Kenji couldn't read her anymore. After bowing as they sheathed their swords, Kenji spoke quietly. "You learned." "I did." "From whom?" "A no performer." Kenji smiled, genuine respect. "The unchanged face is the hardest technique, harder than any strike. You mastered it in 6 months?" "No. I learned the practice in 6 months. Mastery will take years." He nodded. "Then you understand. Few warriors ever do." Chapter 7. Your Practice. 10 years later. The same No theater near Kiyomizu Temple. Tomoe, now 34, sat across from a young samurai named Akira. The boy was 17, talented, and struggling with the same problem Tomoe had once faced. "Sensei Tomoe, my commander says I'm too readable in combat, that my face betrays my intentions. He sent me to you." Tomoe smiled slightly. "Do you know what Fudōshin is? The immovable mind?" "Close, the mind that experiences everything but is moved by nothing. Your face is currently a mirror that reflects every thought and emotion automatically. I'm going to teach you to control what that mirror shows." She stood. "Starting tomorrow, you'll train here every morning for 6 months. 2 hours. No sword work, only face work. Can you commit?" "Yes." "Good, then sit. We'll begin with 1 hour of stillness. Do not move your face at all." The boy sat, 10 minutes in, his face moved. Tomoe struck the wooden block. Again. The teaching continued. The practice passed on. And now it reaches you. Here's what Tomoe learned, what Zenji taught, what every warrior who survives learns. The battles that destroy you aren't won by superior force. They're won by superior information. And your face is giving away information you can't afford to broadcast. Every negotiation where your anxiety showed and they pressed harder. Every conflict where your anger appeared and they used it against you. Every interview where your nervousness was visible before you spoke. Every relationship conversation where your doubt revealed itself in your expression. Your face has been playing a game with the world and losing. But Fudōshin teaches you, the space between feeling and showing is power. The unchanged face isn't suppression, it's sovereignty. Your practice, starting tomorrow morning, sit in front of a mirror for 15 minutes. Just watch your face. Don't try to control it yet. Just develop awareness of what it does automatically. Notice the micro movements, the unconscious expressions, the reactive patterns. After 1 week of pure observation, begin the practice. Recall a strong emotion, frustration, fear, anger, excitement. Feel it fully. Let it arise, but maintain an unchanged face. Your expression stays neutral, not tense, not frozen, just still. Do this for 10 repetitions, 5 different emotions, 2 rounds each. This is difficult. Your face will want to move. Let it want to. Don't let it. After 2 weeks, add environmental triggers. Have someone unexpectedly clap near you. Maintain unchanged face. Watch surprising content. Maintain unchanged face. Recall painful memories. Maintain unchanged face. The goal isn't to become emotionless. It's to become choiceful. You feel everything. You show only what you decide. Write your commitment in the comments. I will practice Fudōshin for numbered days. I will develop the space between feeling and showing. Make it public. Make it real. The truth about emotional control. Fudōshin isn't just for samurai in 16th century Japan. It's for anyone who's lost negotiations because their face betrayed desperation. Anyone who's been manipulated because their emotions were visible. Anyone who wants the power to feel deeply while showing only what serves them. The warriors who mastered this became unreadable, unpredictable, emotionally sovereign. Those who didn't stayed transparent, controllable, predictable. The same is true for you. Your face is currently a liability, but it can become your greatest tool, not by hiding, but by choosing, not by suppressing, but by mastering the space. Subscribe to this channel for weekly practices in warrior discipline, emotional sovereignty, and the ancient techniques that transform weakness into power. Fudōshin. The immovable mind, the unchanged face. Walk with awareness, train with discipline, remain unmoved. The warrior's path awaits.